There is this concept of RPG and NPC. The NPC is a kind of people that they don't either exist outside the simulation.
So they're like a form of hologram.
Either they don't exist outside the simulation or they don't believe in anything outside of this world that they believe is reality. You just want to have the best instincts. It's inevitable that we're going to create the simulation. It's going to come to the point that nobody wants to live in the real world.
It was a butterfly, but which was true? Was it the butterfly dreaming or was it man? How do we know?
It can work both ways, I guess. Why people would accept the creation of simulation. I believe it's very easy for people to get on board with simulation and want it more and more and more.
Stirs up the pot about what's real or what's true and what's not. It really pulls the mat out from under us.
Okay, let's talk about when was the first time that you came across the topic simulation?
Oh, that's a big question. If I remember correctly, it would be with the film Matrix as a specific thing outside of me. But I have studied quantum physics on and off since I was quite young. And really, there's a lot of information within quantum physics which kind of blows the theory of what we think of as normal. Like this glass table here, we think of it as a solid table, but when you get into looking through quantum physics eyes, there's nothing at all solid about this, and it makes you wonder why it's holding all this stuff up, you know. So I've always sort of had that knowledge in me since I was, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 or something, but the specific thing was the film Matrix, which made me start to really question, is this a big film set? How about you?
How long ago was that?
I don't remember, but it was 20 years ago, maybe?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yes. Yeah, for me it's a little different because I think I watched The Matrix within the 6 months when it's been premiered. But before that, it was a movie that called Dark City. And
Okay. Yeah.
it was a very strange movie, very kind of dark, and uh, it was about this entity that controlled the city, and they would come in the middle of the night when people go to sleep. They adjust whatever they feel for it, like they inject some type of fluid to people's mind, and they change their memories, they change the building will like grow, and it was a dark concept. And that was the first time that I feel like, oh, maybe like the possibility, the idea of like being controlled by something that we don't consider it. And fairly short after that, it came out The Matrix.
Okay.
I think The Dark City was my introduction to the idea of there might be other forces controlling our
Yes.
reality.
Okay.
And The Matrix was that the movie gave me the impression of what it is and how it is that they control, and what's the purpose of their control and what they want to get out of it, which is the return to a battery
Yes.
for them. Well, that was my personal experience, and since then I've been trying to like take whatever I can, whatever like in my research or like in my interest, to be honest, like seeking the truth or partially truth or my own truth at least. I was trying to search, like listen to different people talking about the theory of simulations, because it's still a theory, and
Yes.
it is a good one, but it's still a theory. And well, as it goes and as it went along, because before that it was just a Hollywood movie that I watched and gave me the impression that it might be a simulation. But later on, when I was a little older, there were scientists and philosophers that come up with the same concept, that yeah, our world might be simulated by who we don't know, but it is a very strong possibility that we are in a simulation. And of course, within having that thought and having that theory, then they have to come up with like it just raise questions like why is it simulated, who simulated it, and all these questions, all these which is like, if you want to put it in that way, is the question that simulated or not simulated we have, like where do we come from, where are we going, what's the purpose of this life.
Yes.
It's just like it's just gonna be in the frame of simulation.
Yes.
It's the same
Oh.
same old questions that we need to ask, or we need to find answer for, or at least we need to find our purpose
Yes.
in
I
it.
understand that
Yeah.
very well. I laughed at you a little earlier because your film, was it Dark Power, was it called?
Dark City.
Dark City. When I was growing up, my brother and I shared a bedroom, and I remember trying to fool my brother. He had one drawer for socks and one for underwear, and I would change them round and thinking I would confuse him, but he never noticed. And I changed them back and he still didn't notice. So maybe I'm one of those dark beings.
Yeah, I guess
I've never. He doesn't know this, by the way. He might know it now, but
it's a really interesting point that you say that, because I think like some of us are more sensitive to like overall, like to details. We pay more attention to details, and like if something, like if you I know people that if they enter the room in less than 20 seconds they can tell you what's wrong, what has been changed. And
yes.
there's a term for it, HSP, or highly sensitive person.
Okay.
Actually it's not, they don't the medicine, the or doctors or like psychologists, they don't believe it's a real condition.
Right.
But there is a fairly good amount of people that think they have it, and it's like a quick survey that you can fill in, and like it gives you if you are a highly sensitive person.
Obviously, my dear brother wasn't.
That's gonna bring up the next point that I want to talk about. Like let's just pretend, or like let's imagine that it is a simulation. We
Yes.
are in a simulation, and then it raises a question: how many kind of simulated people are there in the simulation?
Yeah.
Which
Okay.
I wanted to talk about, in sense of that you said your brother. I believe, like what I have in mind, like there's this concept of RPG and NPC. The
Do you want to tell our listeners a little bit more about that? What it stands for?
yeah, RPG.
And me. I bet I'll blame them.
I think we can look up what RPG stands for because I don't know what
Oh,
the
maybe we take it
initials
another time.
stands for,
Yeah, yeah.
but the definition of it is that the NPC is a kind of people that they don't either exist outside the simulation
Okay.
or
So they're like a form of hologram.
no, there are real people,
Okay.
but they just don't either they don't exist outside the simulation or they don't believe in anything outside of this world that they believe is
Okay,
reality.
Say that the thinkers, they live up here.
Yeah, exactly. They just say that, no, this is life. Very how do you say agnostic point of view. Like,
Yes.
no, I don't remember when I was
don't
in
believe
my.
in anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They will, like, come with this like kind of logic about life. Like, yeah, if you do you remember when you were in your mom's womb, or even if you remember that, do you remember before that? You probably say no, and yeah, the dead it will be that. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna turn to nothing, and that's their point of view.
But on that point, I feel that our society creates that. It creates that attitude. You know, just do your work, be productive. You know, reproduce, pay your loans, die. That's it. I mean, I'm exaggerating it, but it's easy to fall into that
Yeah, exactly.
for people, isn't it? So in itself, maybe that is a simulation. If it takes us away from discovering our true selves.
Yeah, the system itself can be
Yes.
the simulation that it. I mean, the system cannot be simulation, but the system is the operative system of the simulation.
Yes.
That likes and the system, like, okay, if you want to like put it in a more sensible term, the societies, they and the authorities, let's say, they like the NPCs a lot better than RPGs. Well, I didn't explain the RPG.
Oh yes. Sorry.
But NPC is the one. NPC is the type of person that either doesn't exist outside this reality, let's call it, not simulation,
Yep.
reality, or uh, they're not connected with themselves outside of the simulation.
Okay.
It's just theory. Like, either they don't exist or they're not connected, which it doesn't matter if they exist or not outside the simulation. They're not connected to that. So they're NPC. They just believe like, no, this is this table, this is a glass here, and that's it.
Yeah.
But the RPGs are, I would say, more sensitive. Like, doesn't need to be highly sensitive person, but they're more sensitive. They they ask more questions because they don't believe that that's it, this is the life and there is nothing more to it. They believe in some type of afterlife and before life or past life, and there's a term for it, awaken. A person can be awakened, like believe that, oh, no, this narrative, this dominated narrative of like, oh no, like, yeah, just evolution, 4.2 billion years and that's it, and human history is like 5,000 year old, at least the invention of writing is 5,000 year old, which I don't believe that, but the dominated mainstream narrative, they believe that, they bought it, and they just run with it, and that's what they need to know, and they don't ask questions. But those are NPCs. But RPGs are questioning that. RPGs are like, wait a second, you're telling me that we've been like we having advanced civilization for 5,000 years, and but like everything that you have as evidence, or every monument or ancient site that you've been discovering, it's like it has been done little to no study on it to actually figure out. You find like you carbon date like whatever natural material that you could find in the site, and that was the first thing. Or some of it is like they don't even find anything to can with the scientific approach date it. They just said like this like I don't know, this kind of arts or this kind of pottery belongs to this age.
Yes.
So because it's similar, we're gonna say this is it's this old. And for me it's like really, like it doesn't like raise any question like maybe we should take different approaches, maybe we should study it longer, maybe we shouldn't put a date on it and like everybody else back up. No, we need to actually be open to discussions and discoveries over that, and to not get lost in the details. RPGs are the one that believes like they're, let's say, if it is simulation, they're kind of seeking the truth. They want to find a connection with themselves outside this simulation.
Yes. Then can I ruin your theory a little bit?
Oh, go ahead.
Well, not ruin it, but give another angle to it. I up until about the time I was 15, I was absolutely definitely one of those who was just not questioning anything. And then something happened to me when I was at school. I was so miserable at school that something snapped in me, and that caused me to start really questioning. So I think I started life as one, and as a teenager switched to the other, and I did it quite extremely. After that, I finished my schooling because I said I would do that, but I didn't do it because I believed in it at all. I had chosen my subjects because I was going to be a landscape architect, and those are the ones I had to have. Nothing to do with learning life or anything. That's what you had to do. But as soon as I was finished with it, I was off looking for new things and new realities, and found them.
But what was the thing that happened that changed your perspective?
It wasn't exactly
If you like to share with us.
Of course. It wasn't anything dramatic. It was just that I've got quite a high IQ, but I'm good at arts subjects. And the science subjects, I have to really struggle to get average grades. And I was doing just pure science subjects and mathematics. And I had to work so hard at it, it made me physically ill. I got a stomach ulcer. And I thought, nah, this is not right. You know, I'm not following my heart. If it makes me sick at 15, you know, this system sucks. So it wasn't exactly one thing, but it was just that it was so horrible. It might have been lovely for another person, but it was horrible for me because it didn't come from in here that I was doing. And I became a landscape architect anyway, but I did it through other means.
Yeah.
You know.
So then, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like, you were an NPC, then you turned to RPG.
Yes.
If I want to just put out these terms on you,
So
like,
I hope I haven't destroyed your idea.
diagnose you with this. But you shouldn't be necessarily born an NPC or RPG. You can even be RPG and turn to NPC.
Oh, I can recognize that too.
It's just especially like as a kid, we are that's all we do. We just wander as kids.
Yeah.
But then when we grow up, it's like actually, if I want to like put it in a plane, is that we are all RPGs, and by like being raised by our family, the school, society, we turn to NPCs. That's
Yeah.
just the way it goes, because
Yeah. Yeah.
we are like wondering about everything. Ask everything, like why is it raining, and why is it dark, why is it light, why is it loud, why is it's that's all a kid do,
Yeah.
and wonder about everything. And it's not like if you answer them once, they're not gonna ask question about. They're not gonna ask any follow up questions. They're just that's
Yes.
all they do. And as I think good parenting will be to actually acknowledge that and encourage that, and let them like carry that with them with them throughout their lives, and try to like not just take the most popular narrative about something and just go with it. Not
Yes.
to just, I'm not saying you have to be like, how do you say, it's like some type of I hate the term conspiracy theorist, or like uh you don't even have to be a skeptic, but you have to have critical thinking about the subject. And just because it doesn't resonate with you the way with your information you have or you formerly had, doesn't mean you have to debunk it. You can still entertain an idea without accepting it. And that's what's missing, I guess, even in the our like a higher intellectual level, like our scientists, our physicists.
I can jump in and if it's okay,
Yeah.
and say something more about
Yeah.
this whole concept, and that is, if for example I had lived my life thinking what I should do the whole of my life up until now, all my 70 years, and not once considered what I feel inside, my God, that is a simulation if ever there was one. Because I would not be leading my life, and how many people live their whole lives like that, Not saying they're bad or silly, but it's just so easy to fall into that, not questioning, as you say, just following the pattern,
Yeah, exactly.
And I haven't done that, but I'm thinking back now. If I had, I would be really annoyed to find that I had lived somebody else's life.
Yeah. Almost as if you live somebody else's life, or like you, like this concept of role models. Like you have to have a role model, and like yeah, sure. I never bought that concept. Like, I mean, I grew up in a family. I'm the youngest, so I had like oldest older brothers and sisters. So it was very easy for me to adapt to like, oh, I'm gonna be like my oldest brother, and but never. I should even like their experiences. They were trying to like, oh, don't do this. This is not gonna end up well. I was like, yeah, but I need to figure it out myself. I need to go through it. Maybe I do it differently. Maybe I do it in a way that it ends up with a different result. And that was my approach. And well, not all of those experiences end up well, but it gives me a different sense. It gives me a
Yes.
liberty in me. Like, okay, I decide, and even if it goes bad, even if I hurt myself, it's on me. But I rather experience and be proved wrong than just take my brother's word or take whoever's word
Yes.
for it.
Sure.
And I guess to just bring it back to our concept, the NPCs are what NPCs are favored by the system. NPCs are the one that go to
Yes.
the whole
Guys.
exactly the how do you say there's a really uh, easy term for them that describe them perfectly, but they do everything by the book.
Yep.
They
That sounds very much like the film 1984, where everyone was controlled by Big Brother. Big Brother is watching you, and you just did like a robot. That's what you mean, isn't it?
Fortunately, that movie, and I didn't know about that movie. I haven't watched it. So, but it feels like we're going to have that type of world and that type of future, that type of world in the future, and it's not that far away. It's not that in the distance. It's like right, we're right there. But I guess that was always a goal for uh, governments and
Yep.
authorities to, like, yeah, here's the thing, here's the narrative, and you should accept it, and you should just run with it. This is the way to be. This is what to do, and you don't need to question it. Our scientists approve it. Just go with it. And I think, like, for us to be able to, like, how do you say, with the, like, a accuracy rate decide for us, we cannot all be scientists, we cannot all be physicists, or we cannot all have a degree in philosophy or 10 other things, but we can have a collective way to look at them. Like, if you hear a philosopher talk about something, and if you hear a scientist and physicist say the similar thing to that, and at least you know from three different perspectives, they they come up with the same concept, and that can indicate that, yeah, maybe there is something there. And by that, I want to come back to the topic of this podcast, which is simulation.
Which one?
Simulation.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, yes. That. Yeah.
For me, it feels like, as you said, maybe we don't know how it has been simulated. Or, like, when we talk about simulation, we just say it like, because it brings some type of image up in your brain, up in your mind, like, simulator, like I'm outside this with a cable to my, like,
Yeah.
through my head, or like, because that's the visual that you can have from the movies that you watched or whatever. But I mean, I'm talking about myself. But we don't know to what stands, like, what is actually simulation look like. At least we have, like, some type of vague idea of it by watching those type of movies, but we
Well-
can just say that if it is simulated, it can be as well very close to what religions, or what your teacher that you talk about with me present.
But speaking of religion, they go by the book literally. They are just buying a concept. Are they RPGs, or like they don't question? They just like, okay, this is the truth. They don't go further in their thoughts.
No. This is the voice of God speaking to keep us on track. Thank you, voice of God. Much appreciated.
But what I'm thinking about when I say religions, I'm not talking about in the sense that religion got it right. I'm talking about in the sense that religion has the same kind of perspective on this world. Like, this what you call, this that you call reality is just like a, there. I'm not talking about Christianity, but I'm more talking about Hindu, Buddhism. Like, they believe, like, this is a dream realm, and they believe that. Of course, I mean, I don't know all the details about what they believe, but the part that is, like, resonates with me is that they believe this is just like a dream world that you go through, and you become who you become and probably transcend to the higher whatever,
That's right. Yeah.
as you can maybe explain more. But
Well, I would like to jump in and say, not really explain that, but that from what I know, there are so many endless dimensions in this cosmos that everything we propose here, you can say, well, at somewhere, yes, it's true. It might not all work for this place we're in here and now, but you can guarantee one of those dimensions, whatever we come up with and say, is most probably true.
it's a whole vast world.
Yes.
It's a huge world.
That was a little sidetrack. Sorry, Marnie, but it
No
just
worries.
jumped out.
Actually, I want to go back to that and talk about it because let's say there are higher dimensions and lower dimensions, but
Yes.
they can be simulated too.
And sideways ones too.
However, they can be simulated too, which is I watched a really short movie. I should have like sent it to you so you can watch it too. It's actually exactly that. It shows like there are multiverse or endless run of
Yes.
simulation that has been created for this race of, I don't know, you can call them aliens or whatever, but they're they fairly look like humans. They're humanoids, and it feels like they're kind of farming humans so they can transcend their consciousness to their bodies. It's a really short, it's a really fun short movie. It's 15 minutes, but uh, I think I'm gonna plug it in so you guys can watch it. But
That'd be good. Yeah. So our viewers can.
it's a very fun thing. I'm gonna have the cover on the screen, and people can see it, and I can maybe leave the link on the description so
Very good.
they can go and check it out. But to go back to our subject, because we don't want. It's easy to get lost in the
Which is why we have the voice of God
yeah, exactly,
to protect
yes.
us from too much silliness.
Yeah, all the sports that we can get to stay on track. Yes. I guess that raised the question: what are the indicators? What are the reasons?
The indicators of a simulation.
Yes, exactly. What gives you the idea that how and why is it why do you think it's simulation or simulated? Which brings up for me, there are a couple of people that were very influential to my for me to form my opinion. And I mean, I said for my opinion, I didn't like have a solid opinion about it. I just think like this might be closest to the truth for me.
Okay.
So one of them was Niklas Boström, which is a sweet guy. He's a philosopher, and he proposed the probability theory regarding the simulation. And I think it was in 2003 that he did that, which I didn't know and haven't heard about it by then. I think the earliest that I heard about him was in 2019 or something.
Okay.
So fairly recently. And he come up with the theory of probability, and I'm just gonna like very quickly go through it because people can have access to it. Like I can leave the link and people can go and read it in full details. But it says that well, actually, like I heard it from him himself. I heard it from he himself talking about it. So he doesn't start it as you might read on like wherever you find it, Google or some, Google it and find it. The way he put it, it was that if we don't go extinct or destroy ourselves by any cause, and if our technology advances by the same rate as it does now, at some point in the future, we're going to be able to create simulation. And so there are two things. If we don't go extinct, and the second one is if we keep advancing technologically, at some point in the future, we're going to be able to create simulation, like simulate this world. And the only things that are in the way for that to happen is that either we destroy ourselves or we decide not to. The risk of us destroying ourselves is, as you might know, very high. Because
Yes.
with the current situation in the world, with the wars, Russia,
And well, not just that, but also the climate threat. If it keeps swinging like it is
Exactly.
right here and now, well, we mightn't even need a war to finish us off.
yeah, exactly. It can be for whatever reason.
Yeah.
We can destroy ourselves, go extinct, and that would be it. There's no past modern humans. So, but if by any chance we d- we we don't destroy ourselves and we get to that point, the chances of us not create the simulation is very slim, very low, I would say. I mean, not me personally say it, it's like anyone with a like common sense will understand that the way we are and the way we just want to have the best newest things, and we just want to advancement, we just want to discover and do the new things, and it's inevitable that we're going to create a simulation. And as I said, maybe it doesn't need to be the whole thing first. We might start with the small things, create this experience of climbing the Mount Everest with no ropes. Like things that are, if you want to do it in real life, it would be very dangerous, and
Wow.
it would have consequences, fatal consequences.
Yes.
But you can do it in a simulated settings, and it's as real as it gets. You feel all the feelings that you can feel in real life, but there is no high consequences or danger to your life. And they're gonna start with that, and they're gonna develop it, and they're gonna like go, it's gonna come to the point that nobody wants to live in the real world. You know what I mean? Like it's very accessible. You don't have to be rich to be able to buy the whatever it is. It's a suit, it's a machine, it's a device that you buy, and it's just whatever you want. It would simulate it for you, and soon enough, you're not gonna want to live in the real world because there's no actual reason for you, because you have everything that you can ever wish for
Yes.
in this device that you can fit in your pocket, as it was before when the television came out. I don't know how long ago. I was very I think like it surpassed my lifetime, but you could never imagine that within, let's say, how many years ago was it that
50s, maybe? 1950s, 60s, 70
yeah,
years.
this 70 years. Nobody could imagine within 70 years you're gonna have that and thousand more in your pocket everywhere
Absolutely.
and have access to it, like, I don't know, the same as you have access to oxygen.
Yes. Yeah.
And that would be like cuckoo crazy talk if you
Oh,
even
definitely.
think
Yeah.
about it or talk about it with someone. But now it's a very like a normal thing. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, of course I have a phone. Yeah, call me. Let's FaceTime, whatever. That's gonna be within, God knows, 100 years, 50 years from now. That's gonna be the concept of
Yes.
simulation.
Yeah.
That's why we need to talk about it in a more. Because when you say simulation, it goes to this category of sci-fi things that will never happen. But that's not the reality that we're facing. We're facing a reality that simulation will be part of our life, daily life.
Yes.
And it's gonna be like, instead of like going to the gym, you're gonna be maybe attached to a machine and you burn all the calories and you just do something else, and I don't know, run or whatever, and you never run out of oxygen because all breath, because it's like the machine does it for you.
Yes.
And you still burn calories. I mean, these are the thought I have. I haven't said and think about it like in that term, but I can easily see how it can go and how it can advance and like branch out in different ways
Yes.
that you cannot say no to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds exciting.
I,
Isn't it?
yeah. I don't. I'm not scared of it, or I don't think it's like, oh, we're gonna lose the fight to the machines or something like that.
But it means I jumped bungee jump for nothing. It was the scariest thing I ever did in my life. And oh man. No, so if we have a simulation, I wouldn't need to have gone through all that fear. Oh, bring it on.
I guess we're gonna get to the level that we cannot distinguish between simulated experiences and the real experiences.
I experience that dreaming now. I guess the dream is a simulation, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But can you tell when you're in the dream that you're dreaming?
Sometimes,
Most
but
of the
not
times.
always.
No, exactly. But when you have a nightmare,
Oh, that. I don't know. I'm dreaming.
like when it's really intense,
Yes.
I don't think like, I mean, of course, like there have been times that I was like, yeah, I'm dreaming. But most of the times, I don't know I'm dreaming, and it's as it is as real as it can get.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I have
Absolutely. Yeah.
sometimes I find myself having past memory about that dream that I have.
Oh.
Like I'm this character in my dream, and
Oh.
I can remember things from that. It's the weirdest thing. I can
Yes.
remember a past life from that character in the dream. Like I'm dreaming. I know I'm this. I mean, I'm this character in this world, and like maybe I have a different sister.
Hermione, how do you know that that's not the real you, and that you are that person's dream?
Hard to figure that out.
I know,
Yeah.
because there's a little Taoist story about that, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
How does it now? That this person was dreamt he was a butterfly. No, it was a man dreaming he was a butterfly.
Yeah.
But which was true? Was it a butterfly dreaming he was a man?
Yeah, exactly.
It's how do we know?
Can work both ways, I guess.
Yes.
And so
Dreams too. I dreamt last night. This is a little sidetrack, but I was in this big crowd of people, and suddenly I realized I had no pants on, and I thought, "Oh no, this is a bit crazy," you know. Oh, I'm in a dream. So then I created pants. So that was the opposite to the normal dream, in that I knew it was a dream and I changed it.
it was.
But normally that wouldn't be the case, would it? You know.
Yeah, exactly. No. And Anyway, we went to this long explanation about why people would accept the creation of simulation. And I believe it's very easy for people to get on board with simulation and like want it more and more and more. Like it's not gonna be any stop. It's not gonna be even a stop with like, okay, we create a simulation of this of Earth and like stars and whatever, but they were like, no, we want to be able to go to the different galaxies now. Can you create something that in that simulation we are advanced enough to travel intergalactic travels and go around and see other universes, other galaxies or other planets or whatever. That's what I mean. Like it's not gonna be even that. And based on that, if we accept that, then it comes down to the point that are we in the simulation or are we in the base reality? The chances of us being in the base reality is 1 in a billion in that case.
Yes.
And of course, he had for you guys, if you go read what he actually has as a theory, is a lot. Is well put it. I'm just bubbling it out, but of course he had some. How do you say moot argument?
Yes.
How do you say it in
Good
English?
argument.
No, they of course try to debunk his theory and like say that it's more in a philosophical way to think that way.
Okay.
And they try to say like if you for you to create a simulation as good as nobody can tell that is simulated world, you need a power source as big as whole universe
Oh, okay.
to create that.
Yeah.
But they don't. It's, I think it's little narrow-minded to say that,
Yes.
especially knowing that maybe we create a 0 point power, maybe we create some source of energy that it doesn't require to like burn fossil fuel or like similar or even like
Yes.
we don't know what is waiting for us, what we're gonna come up with and invent. Maybe we create some ungodly amount of energy with like literally nothing and we come up with that concept, and then what? Then what would be the other reason that we not going to be? So that's what I mean. It's very narrow-minded. It's very focused on what we achieve now, and they try. It feels like they're just trying to explain it away instead of like, oh yeah, your theory is like is
Yes.
applicable, but we're not sure about it.
No.
Because that would be the nice way to put it.
Yes.
But when they say like, you just, it's like you just being poetic about it. It's just philosophy. It's in a philosophical way. You think about the stuff. Let's talk about solid reality. Let's not get crazy here.
That's my key.
Yeah.
That's my key.
Let's not
to
get
throw
crazy.
a spanner in the works. Here.
Let's not get crazy, Niklas. We're gonna be like we're gonna keep it
Yes.
really nice and we're gonna
Yes.
keep it formal here.
In that case, then at this point, this is where our viewers should go and take a good hard look at quantum physics.
Yeah.
Because then that really stirs up the pot about what's real or what's true and what's not. It really pulls the mat out from under us. It's really amazing stuff and very scary stuff at the same time. Because going back to this table business, we think something's real and quantum physics says, no. This is not a solid table. You view it, you create it in your mind. It's just space and energy. That's it. And the deeper you go into it, the less real it becomes. Till And there's no end to that. You go deeper and deeper and deeper, and then you probably go insane before you get much further than that. But it doesn't really. I mean, we're talking about making sense of all this, and dear old quantum physics is not going to do that, but it's going to raise a lot of questions, isn't it? About what is a simulation, what's not, what's real, what's not. And I'm feeling really naughty talking about this because it's not helping the listeners to get some sense, is it? It's the opposite.
I guess it kind of does, because this is to come back to our topic. They think like when you go to the smallest bit of of matter, it comes to the simplest, like, kind of almost yes and no question. Like the position of the particles, like, is it up, down, left, right? And it's a yes or no question, or in other term, it's a binary code.
Okay.
It is in the smallest bit is just a bit of information. So when you think about it in that sense, based on quantum physics, so it is data. It is like an electric kind of. It's a whole electric world, and it's just connected, and it's just piece and bits of information. And we think this table is like solid, and like it says solid matter, but it's just bits and pieces of information that gives you that
Yes, exactly.
that
Yeah.
perception that no, I can touch it, I can hold my hands on it, but it's just that's how it's designed to give you that expression.
Yes.
And that's another thing that helps or indicates that, yeah, it can be the concept of simulation. And because we don't find any solid thing, as deeper we go, as the smaller we detect, it's just indicates that nothing is there. There's nothing there. There are like some pieces that moves around, but
Yes,
what they do, they just send signals to each other, and like and it's hard to predict how they move. It's hard to understand them, but as that can be one of the indicators to the fact that we might live in a simulation.
Okay.
That's the quantum physics, and is kind of. But to not get lost in that, we can just name a couple of other things that we think that might be good indicators for us
Okay.
to accept we live in a simulation,
What do you
or to
got?
entertain the idea that we live in a simulation. Uh, Another thing that is like, you don't have to be a scientist to actually understand it, or like feel like, that makes sense, is the Mandela effect.
Okay.
And I have a good one to tell you, but I want you to tell me about your personal experience. Do you have any personal experience with Mandela effect? Let's just explain what Mandela effect is.
Yes, that'd be good. Yes.
Mandela effect became something that people call Mandela effect. When a group of people collectively remember things differently, that is Mandela effect. And it was they named it that because so many people have this like kind of false memory, or maybe true, who knows, that Mandela died in the prison. But in reality, or in our reality, wink wink, Mandela didn't die in the prison. Mandela uh, got free and like lead South Africa to liberation. What do you,
That's right.
how do you
Yeah.
say it? Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like and it's not that far away in history either. It's very fairly recent history. So for people to have that memory, and it's not like, oh, this country maybe like they were like a little off, or it was a propaganda in this
Yes.
government, so they didn't want them to know. No, it's like all over the globe. So that was the thing, that Mandela effect, but it is with so many other things. Like there are plenty of examples about it.
So it's like a fake collective memory, or
False collective.
so, yeah, that's a better word.
Fake, that means like you.
Yeah, no, false is
Yeah,
better.
exactly.
Yes, yeah. I don't have quite that, but nearly. Very, very many years ago, I had quite a weird UFO experience in Canada.
Oh. Do tell.
Well, that's the problem. I've told the story so many times that I actually am not sure if I'm just remembering me telling the story to others or what actually happened. You know, it's not quite Mandela effect, but it's the same. It's the same result. I'm not sure what's true now. I'm not sure if I've changed it slightly over the years. You know, and I know I have a tendency to make things slightly more exciting than they probably really were, and I don't know how much I've added to it. You know, because I somewhere in those years between, I've lost the original memory because I've blabbed it so many times. So I can't honestly tell you the real story. I can tell you here and now what I think happened, but yeah, that's the nearest I come to a Mandela effect experience, Marnie. But it annoys me a lot because I've got no way of going back to the original experience. And
It feels like you create a false memory for yourself.
yes,
And
I have.
yeah, it's hard to find out which one was the real
Yes.
event actually.
Yes.
And it can be that, but when it comes to Mandela effect, it's like because it's collective, it's a group of people having the same memory, and there are very weird examples. Like, have you watched Star Wars?
Absolutely.
So there is. Oh, this would be a good question then for you, because there is a famous line in that movie that says, "Look, I'm your father." Do you remember it like that?
With Darth Vader,
Yes.
and he says, "No, I'm your father."
Exactly.
I think "No, I'm your father" is what really was said. Not
Look, I'm your father. No, I'm your father. So you remember it. No, I'm your father, right? But it's like people often quote Darth Vader in Star Wars: The Empire blah, 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 as saying, "Look, I'm your father." But reality is that the line is, "No, I'm your father." So you remember it. No, I'm your father. So many people
Yes.
remember it that it says, "Look, I'm your father,"
okay.
and that's one of the Mandela effect that you can
Okay.
think about. But there are plenty others, like Pikachu's tail, mirror, mirror on the wall, where's magic mirror on the wall, from the Snow White.
Yes. Yeah.
So which one do you remember?
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the prettiest of them all?
Well, the real version is the magic mirror on the wall.
Oh, okay. See, then then I've fallen into the lie category.
The point of us bringing this up is that there has been, like, I believe it, believe it maybe is a strong word, but I can accept the fact that it's been some, how do you say, like they edit our timeline or they influence our timeline
Okay.
that we live in right now.
Okay.
And they
Yeah.
change like minor details. They adjusted some details that it doesn't, like, it's not that big that people get upset about it, but some people do. Highly sensitive people will do.
Yes.
If I come to the room and see, oh, you changed this iPad, like it was like this, they will notice it less than 20 seconds. They will notice all the changes. So I might think in that sense, those collective false memory, like a group of people, they might all be like highly sensitive people, and it's not an illness, it's not a like a condition that like
Oh.
you have a diagnosis or something, but it's just the way that, oh, you are very sensitive to changes, so you might recognize if something, even the
Yes.
smallest detail changed, you're like, that's not magic mirror on the wall, that's mirror on the wall. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
I've heard it in my childhood. I repeated 1,000 different times to like different settings. So I'm 100% sure I'm not gonna get it wrong. And then the reality is that no, it's magic mirror on the wall.
But you know, this Mandela effect, for me, brings up a whole new spanner in the works, and that is that every one of us sees life through different lenses. So, which one is true and which one is not? And that's not. It's a hypothetical question. I don't want you to answer that, Marnie. But I just had an experience. I was talking to this was a few weeks ago, and someone asked me my opinion about this person, and I happened to say, "Oh yes, you know, I think she is so and so and so," and the other person says, "No, she's an old drunk. She just drinks, and she's an awful person." I thought, "Oh, were we talking about the same person?" And yes, we were. I didn't see any of that. And it's probably true. Maybe she is a drunk. I have not observed that. I've observed her as a very friendly, open person. And probably both are true to some degree, you know. But you think of that of all of our life. You know, maybe we live in each and every one of us in our own simulation, you know, and depending on what color we see, that's how we see our simulation. Maybe none of us see supposed truth. And that's just a big question I'm proposing. I'm not saying it's real, but I think there might be some aspect of truth in that, you know. In which case we've got simulations all over the place, 7 billion of them on the planet.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. It is. It is that if there is a simulation, we're not gonna stop with one. So it's gonna be endless runs of simulation.
Yes, yeah.
That actually brings up the point that the multiverse theory can be just endless runs of simulation.
Yes.
That things are slightly different in this one. Have you seen the TV show called
No.
the Man in the Castle?
No.
It's a very fun, I mean not fun, but it's a very interesting TV show. It's about the alternate timeline, that in that timeline Hitler won the war,
Oh, okay.
and they split the USA to east and west. The German took the east and Japanese took the west. and the middle is just it's like a big desert that created by atomic bomb, the nuclear bomb that Germany developed sooner than USA.
But see, Marnie, that's probably true somewhere. You know, why not? Because we have all these what I call sideways universes or multiverses, and I've actually had the honor of being able to travel a little in other dimensions, and I asked to be shown one of them just to get some little idea of what it would be like, and I just saw a house, but everything was just slightly different form, and I could see out on the street, and I saw a Mercedes Benz drive past, but it wasn't quite right. You know, the proportions were just a little twisted, and I could still tell it was a Mercedes Benz, but it wasn't. You know, so that's then I thought, that's enough. I'm back and I'm out of here. That's all I saw, but it was enough to show me, okay, this is real. And that was just one. I mean, they don't end. It's why should they? They can go on forever. So I'm sure Hitler did win in some dimension, or if not, maybe quite a few.
Yeah, exactly. And it can be that our timeline that we live in has been influenced and changed by like a small minor details,
Yes.
so ends up in a with a different result.
Yes.
And the whole by the way, the TV show called Men in the High Castle.
Okay.
I think I said Man in the Castle.
Thank you.
Man in the High Castle. Or I'm gonna just leave the title in the description so you.
I have a little question I'd like to put to the listeners when we're ready to finish. Have we come to that point, do you think? Or do we have more you want to say, Mani?
Guess we can just touch on the little theory called nested simulations, which is the simulation that is running the civilization that live in that simulation can reach the technological advancement to create one.
Okay, yeah.
And my assumption is that with everything, like all the evidence point to maybe we are that civilization. We are nested civilization that try to. We are that nested simulation that try to create our own simulation at some point in the future.
If we're smart enough to keep ourselves alive.
Yeah, if you're not dumb enough to kill ourselves, because you don't have to be that smart. You just have to be really dumb to destroy this whole how many years of advancement and being civilized.
Wow.
So now I think now is the time for you to.
Yeah. This is a question to you, listener. I wonder if Mani and I are part of your dream, or if you are a part of our dream, which is which. And if we are part of your dream, I hope it's been a good one. And see you next time.
We enjoy this stream anyway, so
Absolutely.
yeah, I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's simulation or not, as long as people can be aware and can decide for themselves, not just accept any narrative that is popular or dominated by mainstream media, and have their own assumption, have their own conclusions, and make their own minds about it. And as you said to me before, it doesn't matter if it's simulated or not, as long as you are following your heart and
Yes.
you're following your intuition and you're doing something that you're uh, inspired by and have passion for it. It doesn't matter if it's simulated or not. It is as real as it can get for you, and you don't feel like you wasted your life or you
Yeah.
followed someone else's path or you live someone else's image of you. You did what you wanted to do and you loved it every second. So I guess
That's a lovely conclusion, which I would totally support, Marnie.
thank you.
If in the next 5 minutes I discover everything was the film set and it all falls down, I don't care. Wow, what a rush.
What a journey.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Marnie. Thank you for today. Thank you, listeners and viewers.